You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network with your host, Will Huckaby and Mika Villas.
What up, everybody? As usual, it's your boy chilling in the Fortress of Solitude, and it's time for the Wrestling Nerdcast. As usual, I'm your host, the AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, a national treasure, and a reality TV star. I am the Mid-Atlantic Bully, the Morning Star, the Southern Gentleman, the Disrespectful Intellectual, the Incredible Huck, Will Huckaby, and there's so many things we're going to talk about today. So we got great guests. But before I get to all that, got to say what's up to my co-host. You know her, you love her, hopefully. I mean, at least I don't. Anyway, she is the voice of the speech impediment. She is the lover of waffles. She's one half of the world's cutest commentary team. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can contact your favorite wrestling promotion and have her call the shots and call all the action and stuff for some of your favorite DVDs and YouTube videos, etc., etc., etc. She is the Adonis of affection. She is Chicago Win. She is my partner in crime, Mika Villas. Mika, what's going on, girl?
Yeah, no, it is. I don't even know what day it is. It's Wednesday. I'm excited. There is a huge thing coming up this weekend. Let's do this, boy.
Well, before we even get into this weekend and stuff, I want to actually talk about it because I was down at Syndicate Wrestling Promotions in Columbus, Georgia, Friday night. And then, somebody actually told me, they're like, hey, Huckaby, you're like the most feared guy. You're one of the most feared guys in the South. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. Like instead of calling me Haku, they started calling me Hucku. But I really didn't know how to take it, you know what I'm saying? But this weekend was really cool. Like I said, Friday night I was in Columbus, Georgia for Syndicate Wrestling Promotions, Syndicate Pro Wrestling. Saturday I did Medal in the Mountains for SCW Superior Championship Wrestling, where if you weren't in the building, you saw for the first time in a long time, begrudgingly, myself and the Black Cloud, Joe Black, actually teamed up in a 4-way tag team match. Yeah, we got the win. We are now the number one contenders for the SCW tag team titles, which is currently being held by the Gymnasty Boys. So I can't wait to have that match. And then Saturday night was Miracle on the Mountain, WVCW's big, huge show. Myself, the former WVCW now, I'm the former WVCW Heritage Champion, took on the WVCW Heavyweight Champion, Aaron Biggs, in a ladder match, which I've been told was probably the most physically brutal match in the history of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, to show you how brutal it was, the match was Saturday. I'm finally able to walk upright, and I finally stopped pissing blood today, which we're recording this on Wednesday instead of our usual Tuesdays. I finally stopped pissing blood today. I'm finally able to walk upright, luckily, because this week is a big, huge show. But yeah, Aaron Biggs, he got the win. A very physically brutal ladder match and stuff. And then the funny thing was, Evolve star, one half of the Workhorsemen, former Evolve Tag Team Champions, James Drake, had a title, basically, I guess you would call it a Money in the Bank title shot. I don't know why a lot of independent companies do that whole gimmick now. Fuck you, WWE, for doing that, because now every wrestling company is doing it. But James Drake came out after the end of our match and challenged Aaron Biggs to the title shot right then, and he is the new WVCW heavyweight champion. So it was a very exciting show. But like I said, I was busted up, had a severely bruised pelvis, dislocated hip, bruised ribs, a severely bruised tricep. I have like 3 fractured ribs. It was it was a very when the match comes out on video, I will make sure to send it to you.
I mean, as much as we play dislike each other or what have you, I was going for Biggs in this match. I didn't know he was going to actually kill you. Now I got to cut a check. So okay.
Really. Anyway, this show, as usual, is brought to you on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Huge shout out to our sponsors, Indie Customs. Be sure to check them out on social media for all of your wrestling and non-wrestling needs. Be sure to buy merchandise from not only this podcast, but also from the Gymnasty Boys, the Lethal Lovers, the new WVCW Heavyweight Champion, James Drake, Mr. Sleaze, TJ Boss, etc., etc., etc. while you're on the computer doing your social media stuff, be sure to stop by our Patreon page. Check out patreon.com / the Wrestling Nerdcast. And then right after that, after you donate some money, because we have a lot of cool gifts and stuff, a lot of cool things that you can get depending on what you donate, on how much you donate to this podcast that you know and you love and you listen to every week, which we bring to you free of charge. We're just asking for a little help just to pay the bills, keep the lights on, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure that, Mika has some wings, because, everybody knows that she's Miss Hashtag what that mouth would do. And then also, but once you donate to our Patreon account, be sure to check out Behavior Driven. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Our producer on this podcast, CW, is a IT genius. He's an IT guru. He comes with a lot of good references. Obviously, he's done a lot of graphic design for not only this show, but for a lot of independent wrestling companies. A lot of companies that appear on the Fight app. He also does, if you're a business and, your IT guy's an idiot or whatever, talk to CW over there at Behavior Driven. Now I've done all the plugs and we've done all the important stuff. Let's talk about something that's not as important. Mika, what'd you do this weekend?
Wow. Honestly and truly, not as important. You know what? I'm going to be honest. This was a work weekend for me. I couldn't make any towns or do any shows because I was still sort of recovering from my excursion up to New Jersey for Battle Club Pro. I've been looking at some of the rough cuts that is coming out really soon on video. I believe it's going to be on Title Match before Battle Club Pro comes out and puts it up on their site for purchase. But I was watching some of the rough cuts from that show, and again, just totally blown away by the action of the ladies, and trying to see if I can make my way back up to Jersey again. There's Malice in the Palace. They've got a show that's not all women, but the show down in the Bronx that's happening. There's a lot happening, so
hopefully you can go up there and they just keep you.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
I am too.
You put it in a bad way, but I am a northern girl by birth in Jersey.
You are a Midwestern child by birth.
It's north of here, which makes it northern.
Yes.
So anyway, I like the Jersey. I mean, it is the armpit of America, yes, but I actually had a ball up there. So who knows? Maybe I'll go up there and they will keep me. That's fine. No worries.
I feel like, and I don't know if a lot of people I don't know if you listen to it or whatever, but I listen to this morning show every morning called The Breakfast Club. DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God, and I've come to realize that Charlamagne the God might be right, that the craziest people in the entire world come from the Bronx and all of Florida. But to add an amendment to that, the dirtiest place in the world would have to be Jersey. Even though I wrestle in Jersey quite frequently or whatever, I literally, in the 4 or 5 years I've wrestled in Jersey off and on, I've never spent a single night in that state. Like I will do a show and then drive 8 hours to the next town before I stay in Jersey. It's something about Jersey. I just don't trust it. I don't trust the people that live there. I don't trust the people that work there. Like,
wow.
Like every time I go to Jersey, I feel like I'm always one stoplight from getting robbed. I don't know why.
Wow. And that's coming from you. You're not like, I guess, a punk, so to speak. So if you feel that way, imagine how the normal average person feels.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't imagine living in Jersey. Like there's no way I could live in Jersey.
Will comes to my house dressed in a giant onesie with footsie. Does that tell you anything about Will? If he's afraid of Jersey, don't go to Jersey.
Exactly.
But I'm not afraid of Jersey, and you guys know me. I'm not by any means hardcore or urban or anything to that effect for the most part. So
maybe we just go to, what, Mika? Maybe we're just in the wrong areas of Jersey.
Perhaps. You do look like you don't belong where I was, so never mind.
That might be it. That might be it. Speaking of people being somewhere where they don't belong, news out. Former WWE star Enzo Amore is doing his first rap concert this coming Thursday at a strip club in New York. So we talked about his video and his song and stuff, and him finally breaking his media silence on last week's show. and now he's doing a rap concert. Can I say, okay, look, Enzo, you know, the rap, you kind of popped me with the rap, with the whole grabbing my consensual penis. In no way should Enzo Amore or Eric Arndt or out as he's going by now, Real One, in no way, shape, or form should he be doing a rap concert. What do you think, Mika?
Do you need to ask me what I think? I do not support this endeavor in any way, shape, or form. The fact that he is going to be doing it at a strip club, I hope even the strippers walk away and say, you know what, we can do better than this shit. Pardon my French. Of course it's at a strip club. Now, apparently it's a high-end strip club. I've been to strip clubs. And
what?
Yeah, I know. Amazing. I've
Ladies and gentlemen, let me find out Mika Villas is twerking on the pole down there in Magic City.
Oh my God, no. First and foremost, it'd be a high-end strip club, much like the one that Enzo is performing in. The clientele is not there to see rapping. They are there to see the ladies. So this kind of takes away from their business. Now, they're going to get people who show up for curiosity's sake and what have you. But how many songs does he have? Just the one? How's he going to do a whole show? Does he have an album coming out? Is it going to be a preview? How long are they going to have to put up with this little midget running around the club grabbing his consensual penis? When in a strip club, when you grab your penis, they put you out. I don't understand.
I was going to say, like, I don't think this is a good look for Enzo. I don't think it's a good look. You know, you just got, the cops just dropped the charges of you for sexual assault. And then you're going to put, and Mika, I will concede that you were right. Like, you can't put yourself in this kind of situation, man. Like, you just got charged with sexual assault, and then you're gonna put yourself in a strip club where all the sexual assault goes down. Like, I've worked in strip clubs for years as security. Like, once people get that liquid courage in them, you know, people start getting really touchy-feely and kind of grab-assy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we all know that Enzo, or Real One, I guess as we need to call him now, he hasn't always come across as being the most stable of people. You know what I'm saying? Especially the fact that he has never denied taking any kind of illegal drugs. Like, I don't feel like this is a good look for him. Like, maybe, you know, he should have, like, volunteered at, like, a homeless shelter or something. I don't know. Like, get your image up first. Like, don't just start, like, oh, I'm dropping a rap album, and now I'm going to do a strip club. Like, come on, man. Again, like, you're a wrestler, not a rapper.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Please don't do drugs, kids. But again, this is one of those deals where I wish that there was a life coach for some of these guys and girls out there who do these idiotic things, and they can kind of Dr. Phil them back into place like, hey, asshole, don't do this. Wrong move. If you want to be a rapper, here's what you do. Don't go to the strip club. Let's put you at a little venue someplace. You know, here in Atlanta, there's someplace called Vinyl, or, I don't know, The Closet or something. Put them in a little bitty place and not go to the strip club, to the scene of many a crime, and especially one that could be easily related to what you were accused of doing. Yeah, again, ridiculous, stupid, and I really feel that while he may not be a bad person, this is absolutely positively a bad move, and it makes him look like an even bigger douchebag than he is portrayed in the media. To me,
my question is, and then we're gonna have to drop this subject. We gotta go somewhere else. We gotta move on to different subjects. My question is, why? Like, how hated must he have been in the locker room at WWE that no wrestling veterans, no hip hop veterans, but like nobody's pulled him to the side and be like, hey man, this is a bad look. Like, you know what you should do? Go back, like, if you want to be a wrestler, do like all the rest of these guys do. Do like Emma does. Do like, you know, Cody Rhodes does. Like, you have someone of a name, you know, you have some kind of name drawing factor with your name and stuff. Like, go back on the indies, make your name, and make WWE want to bring you back if that's what you want to do. This is just bad. But moving on to that, going from bad to good, CM Punk and Colt Cabana. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, if you heard, you know what I'm saying, they were facing a lawsuit against WWE Doctor because of some inflammatory statements that CM Punk had made on Colt Cabana's podcast, The Art of Wrestling. No. There was no allege. He made the statements. You can listen to the podcast. He made statements. But the WWE doctor was saying that, he was trying to sue him for defamation of character and libel, even though he had not lost any business, even though, his I guess, patrons he hadn't lost any customers, any business whatsoever. He hadn't lost, any jobs with WWE. He was still trying to sue them.
He might now.
Well, luckily, the jury voted against him, and they voted in behalf of CM Punk and Colt Cabana. Mika, do you think that because of this lawsuit that we're going to see people watching what they say now and shoot interviews?
No, absolutely not. Because Punk and Cabana won, they spoke the truth. People, when they do shoot interviews, for the most part, are not on the same level of a CM Punk. I don't see in the future someone of a Punk reputation and character and just name value going to do a shoot interview and the same thing happening again. Not because they're going to watch what they say. It's because as long as it's the truth, it's going to be like, oh, shit, well, whatever, let it go. Especially if you work for the WWE. This is a weird lawsuit for so many reasons because there's so much bad blood between CM Punk and the WWE that this almost felt like a way that the WWE could kind of, quote unquote, test the waters to see what would happen if they decided that they wanted to try to go after Punk for some reason or what have you. Because, again, everything he said on the podcast was documented. I mean, there's video of him with this thing on his back. There's people in the locker room that could say, yeah, he had this thing on his back. There was nothing that he saw the doctor, quote unquote, treated.
Did I lose both of y'all?
So this was what happened.
Y'all froze like a motherfucker.
Okay. So there was nothing that Punk said that would have been a straight out and out blatant lie, and the jury saw that. So this was just, I feel, a slick way of the WWE just trying to take a swing at Punk, so to speak, without actually fully getting their hands dirty themselves, and while he didn't lose, it took some time for this to happen, that it had to go to court, that they had to get lawyers and do the whole deal or whatever. I think it was a irritant more than anything for Punk and Cabana, and it's interesting, but again, I don't think you're going to see it ever happen again. I don't think anybody's going to take that time and, most importantly, that money to go to court during shoot interviews. I mean, if that's the case, there's a whole lot of people that should be hitting up Sonny for defamation of character and improper whatever. But, hey, they're not going to do it because it's not worth it.
I don't see anybody suing the Honky Tonk Man. No offense. I think the Honky Tonk Man is great. But, yeah, I don't see anybody suing the Honky Tonk Man for anything that he may or may not have said.
There you go.
While thinking about it, huge shout out to my homegirl, Kiera Hogan. Where I'm at, the Fortress of Solitude, as most of y'all know, it's kind of cold in the Fortress of Solitude, so I got to keep my head warm. Got my Girl on Fire beanie. Been rocking that like all week and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because, it's warm and it's comfy.
It's hot.
What?
It's hot.
Not
Girl on Fire, it's hot.
Yeah, it keeps my beanie, it keeps my head warm. This beanie keeps my head warm. And it's pretty stylish. Plus, I'm a 300-pound black guy. Who's going to say something to me about having a Girl on Fire? You have to be pretty brave.
I would, but yeah, I like Kiera. Whatever.
You would only say that when you're drinking out, your Indie Customs Igloo cup, and when it's full of, that Himalayan water blessed by Tibetan monks.
Yeah, that too. Won't let you lie.
Anyway, before we call our guest, I want to, of course, I know you didn't watch it because I don't know why, but you just don't. Best of Super Juniors tournament is over. I'm not gonna be a douche. I'm not, for all of our fans and listeners who haven't watched it yet, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna release who won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, but I will say that the finals match was amazing. Probably I'm already on my list of one of the best matches of the year. So, Mika, if you haven't watched New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Juniors tournament, watch the entire tournament, first of all. Go subscribe to New Japan Wrestling 1972.com or .org, wherever it is. Subscribe to it. It's $8.99. That's like 999 yen or some crazy shit like that. But it's less than the WWE Network. A lot of content. You definitely want it because, coming up, they got a Dominion show. You're going to see Naito versus Chris Jericho. Okada versus Kenny Omega Part 4. The Young Bucks are going for the IWGP Heavyweight titles versus Sonata and Evil. Former ROH Tag Team, the Tempora Boys, now known as Roppongi 3K. They're going for the Junior Tag titles versus Kitamaru and Bushi. Like, the whole show is just stacked. Mika, I know you're not a huge New Japan Wrestling fan, but you should be. Like, it is amazing.
Time out. I am not an anti-New Japan. I just watch so many hours of wrestling. New Japan is on my DVR list. I do watch after the shows air on New Japan World when it comes on Access TV. I will go and watch it on Access TV. I just can't be up online like you at 3 a.m. and what have you, watching these things live. Unfortunately, I don't sleep, but I do have a life outside of that, so I can't just be up in the middle of the night watching wrestling from Japan live.
Watch less WWE unless it's Cedric. Watch less WWE and more New Japan. With that being said, we're gonna take a break. And hopefully we'll come back with a guest, but if not, then me and Mika will just shoot the shit some more.
Ooh.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast. I'm your host, the incredible Will Huckaby, along with my tag team partner, Mika Villas. As usual, this show is brought to you by on the Angry Marks Podcast Network, brought to you by our good friends at Indie Customs. Be sure to check them out, order a bunch of merch, help support indie wrestling. After you buy a bunch of stuff from Indie Customs, from this podcast and the Lethal Lovers and Gymnasty Boys and even the Hierarchy, be sure to check us out. Go to our Patreon account. If you love what you hear on this podcast, please help us. This is a free podcast that we do every week to entertain you, the general public. So go to patreon.com/The Wrestling Nerdcast. We have a bunch of cool prizes, a bunch of cool gifts. You get to talk to me. You get to talk to Mika. You might be able to video talk Mika. You never know. If you donate enough money, she might even video call you and eat wings the whole time, so you personally can see what that mouth do. Anyway, tonight's guest, we're super honored to have tonight's guest. He is a former AIWF United States champion, or America's champion. I'm sorry. He claims to be the strongest professional wrestler, pound for pound. He is the strongest professional wrestler, maybe in the entire world. We're going to get to the former AIWF America's champion, too. We're going to talk about that, too. You can find him every week traveling not only in the Midwest, but in Texas, but in the East Coast, out west. He has been doing this for a number of years. He is a wrestler. He is a promoter. He is a booker. And he is our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Flex Reed. Flex, what's going on, man?
How's it going, Huck? How's it going? It's good to be on the show finally.
I know, man. You know what I'm saying? You've been promoting and stuff. There was a couple people worried. I'm not going to lie to you. There was a couple people. I got a couple of messages when you released on social media that you were coming on the show. There was a couple people messaged me. I got a couple messages. Was like, hey, man, what are y'all going to talk about? And I was like, I don't know yet. We're going to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. He might want to get something off his chest. He might want to play his cards close to his chest. I don't know.
Oh, well, shit. Let's go ahead and give the people what they want. Because I'm sure people are curious about why I vacated that America's title. So we can just go ahead and start there.
Before we even say why you vacated, let's go and say you won it. You won the America's title from Eric Darkstorm in your hometown in Kansas, in the Midwest. I want to say in Kansas, correct?
No. It was in Omaha. That was in Nebraska.
Oh, geez, that's even crazy. I didn't even know they had wrestling in Omaha.
We was out in the middle of the sticks.
I believe it. But you held the America's title. Me and you had some words and stuff back and forth on social media. It looked like it was all the makings of having a unified title match, the America's champion versus the world champion. And then, out of nowhere, you vacated the title. So let's go ahead and ask the people, let's go ahead and give the people what they want. Why did you vacate the AIWF America's title?
Well, first off, Huck, I know where the money was at in the AIFW. The strongest pound-for-pound professional wrestler on the planet, and I've put that out to every wrestler. I don't care if you're John Cena on down. It doesn't matter. I posted videos of me weighing 214 pounds, bench pressing 520 pounds with a spotter, 485 pounds without a spotter. I mean, with that being said, somebody can do something. AIWF heavyweight champion yourself, you're an animal. Why wouldn't we have that? That's money. I keep getting thrown these lackluster opponents for lackluster pay. I'm Flex Reed. You know what I mean? They could do better than that.
Well, yeah, you're right, but you can only work what you've been given to work with and stuff, man. So was that the biggest reason because you just was mad at the quality of opponents, or was it more about the fact that you felt like they weren't pushing you harder than what they should have?
It's like this. I take on all challengers, all in all, but when the money ain't right, there ain't no use in doing it. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Because I don't beat this body up for free. I keep it flexy.
Oh, so is that the gist of right there? Is that because we know this is professional wrestling, and Mika, as a commentator and stuff, and she's behind the scenes now. She understands, like, you have promoters that want you to drop 10 hours, $30-$40, man. And you're like, hey, look, that's not even enough to make me get out of bed. Was that the biggest gripe you had, was just, the payouts?
Well, like I know, the quality of the opponents brings the payout up or down. What bigger payout did they have than me versus you? Let's just get it out there on the table, brother. What bigger payout did they have?
You're right.
With that being said, when I know for a fact you would have signed the contract, I would have signed the contract, they could have made it happen. But no, instead, they want to have people that can't lace no boots on their own, let alone lace my boots that I got to step in the ring with. The door's not closed to me coming back to the AIWF. I'm going to leave it like that. But the money better be right.
Oh, the money talks and everything else walks a marathon.
Thank you. And when you got the legitimate pound-for-pound strongest man in professional wrestling, and you drop the ball on that, hey, I don't know what to say. But the door's always open.
Well, what was it? Okay, before I pass it over to my partner and stuff, what was the response when you was like, listen, I just can't do this. I'm going to vacate the title. What was the response that you got? And did you get any backlash from some of the boys in the background, from some of the boys?
No, actually, I think it helps a lot of the green guys when it comes to, hey, you got to stand for something in any kind of business. And when business isn't being ran right, it's not good for anybody.
Oh, you right about that? Well, with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to somebody who knows absolutely nothing about business whatsoever. My co-host, the lover of waffles, Mika Villas.
Alrighty then. So, yeah, I don't know all the ins and outs of the wrestling business. I am still green, as they say, but I do know business in general, unlike Huckaby, whose business has to do with a Burger King Whopper, maybe a 2 for $5 or something like that.
Shit, that's your business right there, too. But shit, he need to slide down to McDonald's. He's forgetting his roots. Like he didn't come from the hood. That's why that boy's still wearing Crocs. I know about him. Shit. He gonna act like since he done won a damn world title, his pinky in the air and shit, while he's sipping his grape Kool-Aid with Thunderbird in it. Phew.
You do know all about it. Oh my God, I think I love this man.
First of all, I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian, first of all, both of you, okay? So I don't eat burgers.
300-pound vegetarian. Anyway, let's talk about, you made a valid point. When it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And you guys literally go out there night after night and put your bodies on the line. You vacating this title is huge because people, it's not a work. It's real. This is not something that, for storyline purposes that you said, you know what, screw this, I'm walking away. You said that the reaction in the locker room that, you kind of did it and the boys are like, kind of receptive. How have fans reached out and said to you? Have they said anything that is, kind of respectful, disrespectful, or how was that reaction when you kind of stepped away and people were like, oh shit, this is real? Or are they still thinking that this is fake?
The most disrespectful thing I could have heard was I dropped the belt because I was running from Huck.
That sounds like some shit Huck would say, but we know better.
Right, and see, I thought that Huck was putting people up to saying it, but there was too many people saying it. Huck ain't got more than 5 friends, so when I get 10 emails, I'm like, shit.
Yeah, that again, it would make quote unquote sense if it was a storyline, but this is real. So has anybody in the office, so to speak, reached out and trying to get you back in? You don't have to name names or anything, but I would expect that, this is a nightmare for them because it's not something that they planned for, not something they were looking to have happen. Have they reached out and said, hey, what can we do, or at least try to smooth the process over a little bit?
Like I said, there was no hard feelings either way. Business is business and friendship is friendship, and you should never mix the two. So in order for there to still be a friendship, the business had to end on my end, you feel what I'm saying? And like I told them, when they part of the pie ready, we can do this. But until it makes dollars, it don't make sense for Flex Reed.
There you go. Is there
and
any...
Like I say,
no, go ahead.
You put the dollars out there, and it's all good.
Have any other companies thrown some dollars out there, or are there anybody that you're eyeballing to look to do a deal with or something? Because you, like you said, you've got that unique talent, you've got that moniker, and it's not just all for show. You're one who can actually go. Anybody out there reaching out, or you want to reach out to or say something to another company or promotion and say, hey, you know what? Come, we could do some business.
Ironically, within, I'd say, 24 hours of me posting that I legitimately vacated the title, one of the AIWF rivals was like, hey, if you still got the title, let's bring it in and do a Ric Flair drop. I just started laughing like, nah, it ain't all about that.
Wow.
Like I said, if AIWF can clean out their issue with me, you know what I mean, as, hey, let's get shit going, I'm more than game. I'm a free agent at this point.
Here's my question. I hate the buddy. Why does as soon as somebody somebody has a problem with the company, somebody's like, hey, you got the title? We can do the Ric Flair drop. You can come on our show and trash it. Like, why does that's the first thing everybody thinks of?
That's a good question. And like I told him, that ain't how I run business. You know what I mean? Shit, that's not Flex Reed.
That's good business right there, because again, this is a full circle type of deal. You run into the same folks on the way up, down, and all the way around. So good kudos to you for not doing that. And speaking of kudos, I'm gonna pass you back to Will, because kudos is probably something he ate back as a child.
And he's still eating them too, with that powdered milk.
First of all, the world champs, I don't have to have powdered milk anymore, okay?
Shit, my bad.
Yeah, I get that grade A Mayola milk, you know what I'm saying? I don't drink that Walmart Sam's Club stuff like y'all get, okay? I get the $6 a gallon milk. You know what I'm saying?
At that point, you sound like one of these motherfuckers working at Wendy's and McDonald's Monday through Friday, talking about they're going to come take a title from Flex Street on Saturday. Like, time out. We know your big lactose intolerant ass ain't drinking no $6 milk. Oh, no.
I'm telling you, I can't rely. I'm to that age now where my body doesn't process dairy, so I try to avoid as much large milk as possible.
Hey, cause put it this way, shit, it don't matter if it's cheap milk, expensive milk, skim milk, dollar milk, whole milk, it's still giving me gas, brother.
Exactly. That's something I want to talk about because, let's just be honest. Neither one of us are spring chickens. We're both in our mid-30s or almost 40 or whatever. I'm not going to put your age. I'm not going to put your age out there. So if you want to, you can, but I'm not going to put your age out there. Working out, and of course, you've cut promos with me and stuff. You being in the gym or whatever. But working out. Do you think when it gets to a point in a certain man's life, like, do you lift heavy? Do you consistently always lift heavy? Or is that like, you do lift heavy once a week and then you do some light weights with high reps? Do you do anything else besides lift the weights? Do you do like a DDP yoga, or do you do, CrossFit? Like, what's your workout regimen?
Well, it just depends on what I'm training for. Like, I do arm wrestling competitions, and I do bench press competitions, so it all just depends on what I'm training for. All the competitions I do are drug tested, so it's not like if we got any, you know what I'm saying, HGH users, steroid guys. It's all natural competition. So it just depends on what I'm actually doing within the next couple of months on how my workout is. I'm the kind that I rarely ever max out, but I like to keep my reps.
Ladies and gentlemen, notice he ain't say nothing about them legs. He don't do no squats, ladies and gentlemen. He'll do all the curls and bench presses, but he ain't doing no leg day.
Okay. See, now I'm gonna have to go ahead and post some pictures just for the champion, because he is the champion. You got to respect that, even though he hid behind Matt Classic and the powers that be. So he didn't have to put the strap on the line. This is the only contact that the Incredible Hulk wants with Flex Reed. But it's okay. I understand. I understand. I wouldn't want Flex Reed to take my title either. But here's an interesting concept, though, Mr. Huck, AIWS World Heavyweight Champion. Pound for pound, the strongest man on God's green earth in wrestling. We made it to the podcast. So this is what I asked. The Incredible Hulk and Flex Reed are going to make some kind of a post later. Can we get a 500, 600, 1,000 likes on it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get this match going. Let's see if the fans really want it, or if it's just imagination. Is it my imagination?
We can definitely get that happening. But right now, for once, I'm sitting here, I'm calling you to put you over. So let me put you over, because this will be the last time I ever do it, just for the record. So you might want to let me put you over.
Brother, I'm trying to put you over. I'm giving you.
I'm already over.
Great. I'm giving you the opportunity to talk to greatness. I see how you're trying to sneak out some weightlifting tips and shit, and that's all good, brother. That's all good.
Yeah, he's not Mika.
I understand. Next, you're going to be asking me, where do I get my gators at? That's what you're going to be asking next. Stacey Adams makes the best gators there are. And I know they don't make Stacey Adams suits in your size because your waist is like a 44. Like the drink from Sonic. But if we get some socks to put on them crusty ass feet, brother.
You see me lift up, Fallah Bahh. All right. Obviously you missed that. Me putting Fallah Bahh in the torture rack, huh? But I don't work out. It's okay.
Are you kidding me? Can you give me even the name of somebody that's credible?
I said Fallah Bahh, Impact star Fallah Bahh.
Oh, Impact star. I'm not caught up on Impact, Young Pack, this pack, 6-pack, 2-pack. I don't give a damn who you are and where you work.
That actually brings me to the next question I wanted to ask you before I turn it over to Mika and stuff, because there's a lot of good talent in the Midwest where you live at. You got Michael Elgin training kids left and right, Kurt Stallion, AJ Gray, Big Russ. You have so many great young guys and stuff in the Midwest, especially the upper Midwest, in the Illinois, Missouri, Michigan era, Kansas City area and stuff. How do you stay one step ahead with those kids? And this is a two-part question. A, how do you stay one step ahead of these kids? And B, how has the scene changed? How have you seen the wrestling scene in the Midwest change in the last, 3 or 4 years?
Well, to keep up with these cats is hard, man. You know that like I know that. Both of us being in our mid-30s, you know what I mean? It's hard to keep up with these cats. So there's really no good answer for that. I just got to keep busting my ass day in and day out, because I know, like we all know, our time is short in this business, so we got to live it while we got it. Seeing, though, has changed dramatically. Like, you can actually see guys putting in the work now here in Kansas. Companies are finally offering – go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you about to say?
Companies are offering seminars. These young guys are learning from greats like Hardcore Holly, Action Smash Demolition, Road Warrior Animal. I mean, Ricky Morton, the names, the list, it goes on and on and on. And these kids are like sponges here. So you see them using what they learn in seminars in the ring. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to keep up with youth. No matter what, youth is the key. And that is hard. I don't give a damn how much I bench press. I can't bench press youth.
Father Time beats us all. Believe that. Speaking of somebody who knows Father Time because she's just as old as Father Time himself, Mika, what else do you have for our guest tonight?
I truly hate you and hope he whoops your ass left and right, up and down, all the way around. That's just all, I mean, if I gotta fucking book this, I'll fucking book it. Damn you to hell. Anyway.
You know what, though? The more I talk to this man, shit, Hope and Flex Reed was on the same side, I think every damn tag team title in the United States might get taken.
You don't want to tag with him.
Know.
Trust me,
I've
seen him with his tag partners. It does not work out well. It works out well for his partner in the end, not so much for him. Maybe you should tag with him.
Hey, it don't matter as long as the money's there. Shit, I'll tag with Bruce Lee. What you doing after this interview, baby? You want to tag? I don't give a damn. I'm the natural Flex Reed.
Oh my gosh! All right, let's talk about we're gonna move away from tagging, but we'll talk about some of your singles matches. What is one of the most memorable singles matches if you had to pick from the matches you've had to date, and you're like, dude, this was just amazing and awesome? Give us one that we can have the fans go back and take a look at and see the natural do his thing that you felt was great.
I I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of great people. I've been blessed to be put in great situations, so I can't single out one. I mean, I've been in the ring with guys like Rodney Mack, Sabu. Actually, let me just not even talk about the names. Let me give some other guys credit. I wrestled a guy by the name of Aaron Helms just last weekend. The kid's got it. He just needs the shot. I mean, there's so many guys here in Kansas, like Huck was saying, and in the Midwest that nobody knows about. So, I mean, there's Blade, there's Kyle King, just to name a couple. There's even a skinny cat named Zombie. He's not too bad. There's just so much talent here, it's hard to say.
Okay. What advice would you give to that talent? Because you've been out there doing your thing for a while now. What advice would you give that talent if someone came up to you in the locker room and just, you know, you called them sponges earlier, said, teach me, what is something that you would tell these cats on, you know, how to thrive in this business?
Do you, because nobody's going to look out for you like you're going to look out for yourself.
Do you?
And I think I lead by example when I vacated the America's title, because that's something no one in their right mind would do.
Did you talk to anybody before you did
No, not at all.
Just thought about it one day and said, boom, this is it?
No, I just had to sit back and look at the situation.
Okay.
Smart moves aren't made in 2 seconds.
You analyzed, you thought about it. That's good, because that's another lesson, because some people will make a quick rush judgment and regret it later. So the question is, right now, as we sit here and speak, any regrets on what you've done so far with vacating the title?
None whatsoever.
There it is. Speaking of regrets, a person I regret meeting in my entire life, and I met some horrible, horrible people. I'm going to let you talk back to the incredible... Well, I wouldn't call him incredible. To William, not the prince, that other guy.
Don't you say my whole government name. Don't you say my government name like that. Don't do that.
I didn't send the police to your house yet. Just be happy. Yet.
Damn. And you know, if she old, like you say, she got one of them old ass rotary phones. So you're gonna hear her call and it's gonna say,
No, oh, no, Flex. Hey, Flex, no, don't worry about it. No, she keeps it updated because that's how she can receive all those unsolicited pics and stuff that she loves.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Wow! That's why you call Flex.
Now, Flex, let's talk about the Midwest and stuff, because if you look on social media, you see that, you know, the East Coast and especially down south is blowing up. Georgia has AWE and the Scenic City Invitational. In Florida, there's Ignite and there's Fest. In North Carolina, they have PWX and AML. West Virginia has WVCW. Ohio has Rockstar. Indiana has, still has IWA. And Tennessee, there's Innovate, aka NWA Smoky Mountain. So we're seeing an influx of really good, top quality companies, just blowing up, not only in the South but also up north and stuff. You know, you have Battle Club Pro, you have Wrestlers Laboratory up in New York, of course, you always got New Jersey All Pro and stuff. But in the Midwest, with the exception of maybe Glory Pro, there's not a lot of really stand out promotions and stuff that you really hear about on social media. What will it take for Kansas City to become a hotbed of wrestling like it used to be, like in the Sam Muchnick days?
All it will take is for the people to start tuning in to the companies that are here, because we're here. I can't answer your question why people aren't looking, because guys like myself, the Curse, there's a lot of us who are East Coast, West Coast, all over. Since October, I've put in on the ground over 17,000 miles. So, I mean, there's a lot of us that are getting out here. I have really no answer for that. There's great talent. I mean, great talent. Once it's tapped in and people start looking, they're going to be like, damn, we slept on this for this long.
I'm going to say, do you think it's a lack of social media awareness? Do you think it's a lack of and no offense when I say this, but you think it's a lack of actual wrestling Twitter fans in the Midwest? Because I know in the South, and especially up north and stuff, wrestling Twitter is a huge thing, which is why a lot of guys get noticed. Do you think that there's a lack of wrestling Twitter fans and followers and stuff in the Midwest?
I wouldn't really say a lack. I just out here in the Midwest, it's different kinds of audiences. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's basically how I can put it. And you got so much going on with social media that we kind of get overlooked in the social media buzz. Like you say, there's so many companies that use predominant big stars. We're out here in Kansas, we build ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when your company doesn't got, per se, Lex Luger walking around with the heavyweight title, it's kind of hard when other companies do. For social media fans to say, hey, I'm going to click on this company where the Incredible Hulk has a heavyweight title versus, oh, shit, look at this. Enzo Amore just came from the Big Show, and now he's their heavyweight champion.
I don't think we'll see Enzo be anybody's heavyweight champ right now. He's too busy doing that.
Well, I'm just giving you an example, you know what I mean, of some guy coming from the big time, and that's kind of how it is. Because out here in Kansas, let's face it, we got a lot of hard-working guys that we just need to get seen. That's all it is.
So do you think it's a lack of – do you think it's the actual wrestlers not really pushing themselves the way that, you know, guys in other areas are? Or like I said, or do you think it's the companies not putting as much social media content out there as they should?
No, it's not even the companies. I'm saying it's just – it all comes down to here in Kansas, we don't have the bigger names on the roster like most companies do in the bigger city. You know what I mean? Where some companies you'll walk in and you'll see 4 or 5 ex-Vince guys or TNA guys or whoever on the roster versus you come to a few companies in Kansas, there's none of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a fan's aspect, it makes it look like, oh, shit, these guys are doing this because look at this. They got 712-year-old whoever as their heavyweight champion.
Well, our producer just said you should get Tech Nine to come to some of your shows. It worked in Atlanta. Hey, it worked in Atlanta and stuff, man. They had Stevie J and Lil Scrappy come to a show, and I know because I wrestled them. And next thing you know, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment blew the hell up. So, not saying they were big before, but that really got the mainstream, you know, notice and stuff. So maybe I can just talk to Tech Nine, or you know.
But then you got to go back to like you said before from a promoter standpoint of that, how the hell are you going to pay that? And you ain't paying your boys what you should be paying your boys.
Well, maybe you can work something out with Tech Nine. You never know. He's an independent artist. He understands the independent grind.
Yeah, bullshit. That nigga's Tech Nine.
hey, at first I was saying I was like, oh, you can call Hitman Holler, like he's from St. Louis. And I was like, oh no, like he's on like Wild 'N Out. You might want to talk to B Magic instead.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
The only person that listens to this podcast that might get that is Emil from New Jersey, the ring announcer and stuff from CZW. He might be the only other person that would get that joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know our time is running very low and stuff, man. Before we let you go, we always ask our guests a couple of questions. Mika, I don't know how this is going to work because he's from the Midwest. But we're going to try to make it happen. But we're going to ask you a couple of questions to see whether or not we like you and if we can ask you to come back on the show. All right?
All right.
All right. Well, I don't know. I would say, you know, Sheetz or Wawa's, but I don't think they have either of those in Kansas City, do they?
No.
What's the go-to gas station in Kansas City?
Shit. In Kansas, probably Quick Shop.
Okay, I have no idea. But I guess I'll find it out on July 7th. All right. And after the show, you try to get something to eat, you know, are you hitting up Waffle House, IHOP, or Denny's?
Denny's.
Ugh. Mika, I think he might be the first person to ever say Denny's on this show.
Hey,
I'm actually good with Denny's, okay?
You come and eat IHOP in Kansas, brother, and then you let me know where you eating at.
I think there's no Waffle House in Kansas City, huh?
Hey, I've heard of so many people talk about how good Whataburger was in Texas until I rolled my black ass to Amarillo and was like, oh, hell no.
Oh, no, don't go to Whataburger. No, you never go to Whataburger. You got to go to In-N-Out Burger.
Hell yeah. I'm just saying, but you ask some people from Texas, and there ain't nothing like it.
I paid Whataburger's the first and only place I ever paid $13 for a burger.
Shit.
I paid those, like, they charge you for extra meat. They charge you for each slice of cheese. Whataburger's the only place I know that charges you for lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and pickles.
And it ain't even that damn great in the end, though.
I know. That's why I said you got to go to In-N-Out Burger, get you a double-double.
I went to Fat Burger, though, and ooh-wee, them Fat Burgers is where it's at on the West Coast.
I'm going to check that out. All right. You're on the way home. It's after the show. You're on the way to the house. You're hitting the road and stuff. What's your guilty pleasure song that as soon as it comes on the radio, you have to blast it no matter who's in the car?
Shit. Dre Day. off the Chronic, the original Dre Day.
Wow. You don't have a guilty pleasure song that you don't want anybody to know about?
No, not really.
Really? Because mine is Bop by Hanson, by the Hanson Brothers. I love that song. That's my song.
Yeah, I ain't got no guilty pleasure.
Don't feel bad because Mika doesn't know what Dre Day is. She's never heard the Chronic album whatsoever. So.
Damn. Okay, well, hold on. Let me
hold on. Time out. Don't lie.
I ain't giving you time to Google it, girl. No. Girl, you ain't got time to Google it. Let me give you something that you might know.
I know Dre Day, nigga, every day. Yeah, I know Dre Day. Forget. Don't listen to Bill.
Because you was over here Googling real quick. Damn.
Listen.
I'm just saying. Mika doesn't listen.
Don't listen to Will. He thinks he knows me, but he has no idea.
Mika doesn't listen to hip hop like that, okay? You ask anybody.
Old school hip hop, yes. Your mumble rap bullshit, hell to the no.
Damn.
Now, see, that's the south side of Chicago coming out of Mika right now.
That's the west side of Chicago. Get it right or get shot. How's that? Yeah.
It all looks like nasty-ass wannabe St. Louis to me.
Oh, hold on. I liked him till just now. Now I'm done. Put a fork in him. I'm done.
Them side down niggas act like it's Detroit. All right, Lance, you better calm down. Y'all got Jordan. Just be happy. That's all y'all need to be happy about.
All right, so
smile because it's upside down frowning because it's over St. Louis. It's unhappy to be there. I'm just saying.
Hey, because I'm on my home city like that, okay?
Oh, that's where you came from? No wonder it's a big unhappy face on the whole damn city. Makes sense now.
I'm originally from St. Louis.
That's why it's not even a real rainbow. There are no colors. It's bland as hell, like that city. Okay, go ahead.
Look, we have a guest, Mika.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
He started it.
Hey, that's that Chicago coming out.
Flex, this is the part of the show. Flex, this is the part of the show where we ask you, and we tell you, like, this is the time when you can be one of those Gamsey type dudes. You can get all your shit in right now. Go ahead and make sure, tell our fans and listeners where to follow you at, social media, where you'll be. You know what I'm saying? I know you got this big show coming up, this big tournament that you're a part of. Let our fans and listeners know where you will be appearing at in the upcoming weeks, where they can follow you at social media, and make our fans and listeners your fans and listeners. So get all your shit in right now.
I'm Flex Reed. You can follow me on Facebook. You can go to WWX and go to XWE. You know what I'm saying? Just if you want to get a hold of me for some T-shirts or anything like that, just go to WWX.com and you can get T-shirts there. If you want them personalized, just find me on Facebook. I'll sign them. I'll sign pictures, whatever you need.
Oh, there you go. Well, Flex, thank you for being a guest on the show. I will actually be in your area July 7th. I will be wrestling in the Kansas City area.
I hear you're wrestling one of the best that Kansas has to offer in Kyle King.
Yeah, I heard, but we all know the best wrestlers all come from North Carolina, so it's okay. Anyway.
Oh.
Thank you for being a guest on the show, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you, fam. Thank you. It was good talking to you guys.
Yes, sir. We'll catch you down the road, all right?
Most definitely. Keep us flexing.
All right, bye. Mika!
Yeah.
Flex Reed. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go ahead when he vacated the AIWF American title, I actually called him up on some personal stuff, and was like, hey, what's going on? You got any gripes, complaints, anything I can help you out with and stuff? And we had a long talk. There's a lot of things that we talked about. We didn't talk about on this podcast and stuff. But he's a good dude. Besides the fact that he always talks about me wearing Crocs, which I don't wear Crocs. Other than that, I kind of like the guy. But what did you think about Flex Reed?
He is a firecracker. I liked him. But most importantly, he knows his worth. Or what he feels is his worth. And a lot of people don't know what they're worth, or they don't know how to feel about, their selves as a product or their selves as an entity. And they don't take a stand. He's taking a stand for what he believes, and that is very admirable.
There you go. Exactly. Like, that's the biggest thing I try to tell these young guys. It's like, no matter what, know your worth. Because if you don't know your worth, then somebody will put a price on you. And it'll definitely be less than what you think you're worth. So if you don't know your worth, don't let somebody else tell you how much you're worth. Like, that's just some total bullshit. Anyway, before we wrap it up, Mika, where were you? I already know where you're going to be at. But tell fans and listeners what's going on this weekend. Huge weekend.
This weekend is a huge wrestling weekend. No matter where you are, especially here in the Southeast, there is something for everyone. I will be Friday, Saturday, and part of Sunday doing some wrestling stuff on Friday and Saturday. But there is something happening around the wrestling that's huge for us. The Southern Fried Gaming Expo is happening here in Atlanta at the Renaissance Waverly. The entire weekend is going to be filled with video games of every kind and sort. They also have board games for you low-tech people, but I'm talking arcades, tabletops, original consoles, everything from the original like Commodore 64 to your PS4 to your arcade, your Jenga, your everything. That's well and cool, and it's happening here this weekend. But Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment is also having on Friday the Red Wedding. Soo Young, the undead bloody bride, will meet her groom, Sugar Dunkerton, on Friday night. They are scheduled to have a wedding, and we know that there's going to be party crashers in the house. One former NXT star, you know her, you love her, she will save herself. Princess Kimberly will be back in the building, throwing up the two-finger salute as a member of the hierarchy along with Blacklist Uno. They have promised to crash this wedding. I can honestly say I've never seen a wrestling wedding go off without a hitch. This is an indie wrestling wedding. That means anything is possible and will happen. The bride and groom have body bags on their wedding registry. It would be a shame to see them actually be in those body bags by the end of the night, which could possibly happen. I'm excited.
I already told you, I'm wearing like a whole suit of armor because I've watched Game of Thrones, and I remember what happened at the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones, and I ain't going to be a victim. I'm going to make it out alive. Like, I got shit to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm chasing down, because, last time I was at AWE, at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, I had to get in somebody's face. I had to talk some shit to Aaron Epic because he thinks he's a bully. He thinks he's a tough guy. And I consider myself, a tough guy. I consider myself the Mid-Atlantic bully. He hasn't said shit back yet, although his little mermaid friend has. So I'm going to be around the Southern Fried Gaming Expo looking for Aaron Epic. Although I might, do you know if Fred Yeha is going to be there? Because if Fred Yeha is going to be there, I'm putting down a Connect 4 challenge. I'm just letting you know.
Wow. I don't know if he is going to be there, but I know you're going to lose if you ever run into him. So, yeah. Okay, good luck with that.
Crazy. You crazy. That, and I'm also looking for a partner for Jenga. I've seen the videos of everybody playing Jenga and stuff.
Giant. It's a giant Jenga. It is.
I know. Mika, are you going to be my partner for Giant Jenga? We can do the Wrestling Nerdcast takes over Giant Jenga. What do you think?
No, I do not want to partner up with you. One, because I have these claws here, and two, I will be on Mortal Kombat kicking boys' butts because girls rule, boys drool.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to beat your ass in Mortal Kombat, too. So
you don't want none. No, you don't want none. Trust me.
Catch these hands, homie. Catch these hands.
Let me tell you, me and Katana got claws and fans for a reason. I'm going to cut you through the F up.
To tell you the truth, I'm not even like a huge Mortal Kombat guy. I'm more of a Soul Calibur, Soul Blade kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? I might beat somebody's ass in Tekken. If they got the new Tekken, I'm definitely going to play that shit. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I don't play video games that often, but Tekken is my shizzle. So I might beat somebody's ass in Tekken. Anyway, anything else, Mika?
That, we talked about here, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment will be at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo. But if you're in outside of here, I know that their Viral Pro has a show on Saturday in Thomaston, Georgia, where Chris Main is the heavyweight champion. He will be taking on Hex. There'll be a lot of our Indie Customs family and friends there as well. I believe Darius Lockhart is on that card. Mr. Sleaze might be on that card as well for Saturday. I don't know for sure. I am caught up on Saturday again at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Your former tag team partner, Nemesis, Joe Black, is going against, is he fighting Chip Day? Finally?
Yes, Saturday is him and Chip Day.
Yeah, for the Georgia Wrestling Crown. So at the end of Saturday, we could possibly have a new heavyweight champion in one Joe Black. The hierarchy could again sweep the board this weekend. So I'm just excited because this is a huge wrestling weekend for us. But also full of video games as well. So I'm just doubly excited.
Before we get done and stuff, ladies and gentlemen, quit messaging or quit tagging me. Although I'm very flattered, quit tagging, me in the whole SCI invitational shit. Don't ask me if I'm going to be in the SCI. I have no desire to be a part of the SCI, the Scenic City Invitational Tournament, or really any other fucking tournament in professional wrestling. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out on my own podcast. If you're having a tournament 9 times out of 10, don't fucking ask me to be a part of it, because I don't want to be a part of the circle jerk. Like that's just my thing. I'm not the indie darling that people wish I was. I refuse to be an indie darling. I'm fat. I like honey buns, and whatever. Anyway, anything else, Mika?
Oh, you know how to let the air out of a room, don't you?
I'm just saying, I'm getting tired because, I'm getting tired of people like, oh man, like, what about Huckaby? Or people message or DM me and be like, hey, are you gonna be a Scenic City? No, motherfucker, I'm not gonna be a Scenic City. I'm not, a wrestling Twitter favorite. Wrestling Twitter does not like me, and guess what? In the words,
shut your mouth. Listen, wrestling Twitter is fine. Wrestling Twitter is okay. It's like the Bullet Club. Bullet Club is okay. Wrestling Twitter is okay. Scenic City is not just that tournament. I understand that you don't want to be a tournament wrestler or what have you, but there's also an experience to be had at Scenic City. Think of it as a smaller version of WrestleCade, okay? Because you do have a lot of the people from the Southeast, some legends, like we talked to Iceberg, Tank.
Mika, I don't even wrestle at fucking WrestleCade.
But you go.
I go to get drunk.
Again, Scenic City is like a smaller version of WrestleCade. Listen to the words, okay?
But there's really nobody at WrestleCade. I mean, Scenic City that I like. So, whatever. You
don't know that.
Are you going to be there?
I'll be there.
Yeah, I definitely know I don't want to be there.
Close the show, man.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the Wrestling Nerdcast. On behalf... Once again, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast. I almost messed it up talking to Mika on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Last time, huge shout out to our friends, our sponsors, people that look out for us at Indie Customs, also our friends at Pro Wrestling World. Also, be sure to check out Behavior Driven. Our producer, CW, is the fucking man when it comes to doing, IT and graphic work. Be sure to check out our Patreon account if you love this interview and all of our past interviews. If you want us to keep giving you free content week in, week out with some of the best and funniest and most entertaining guys and ladies in professional wrestling on the independent scene, check us out, patreon.com/The Wrestling Nerdcast. On behalf of my co-host, the lover of waffles, the voice of the speech impediment, one half of the world's cutest commentary team, the Adonis of affection, Mrs. Hashtag What That Mouth Do, the receiver of all things unsolicited, and Chicago win, Mika Villas. I am your AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, the Disrespectful Intellectual, the Southern Gentleman, the Mid-Atlantic Bully, the Morning Star, the Incredible Hulk, the National Treasure and Reality TV Star, Will Huckaby, saying peace out and support indie wrestling.
Bye.